Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Time to take a look at the upcoming Cleveland Browns season. Of course, former three-time Super Bowl champion Jerod Cherry joins us here on the show. You may remember his days, of course, with the New England Patriots and the Saints, and working for WKNR, doing Cleveland Browns broadcasting as well. Jerod, thanks for coming back here on NewsWire. Great to have you.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
All right, so let's kind of get into who left and who the Browns have added. And simply put, I think every team undergoes change. The Browns relied on Joe Flacco a lot last year at quarterback because of course, Deshaun Watson being hurt for some of the season and playing ineffective. And on the flip side, the Browns added another backup quarterback in Jameis Winston. So I think that's a pretty good place to start. I know we tend to do that at the quarterback position, Jerod. You know that. It's sort of the talking point. It always drives the bus, the offense, the quarterback. And it's no different for the Browns going into the season. Deshaun Watson is going to be a pivotal focus, I think, for everyone watching Browns football.
And rightfully so, because one, you paid an ample amount of money to have Deshaun Watson in a Browns uniform. And on top of that, you simply can't get far in the National Football League if you don't have a quarterback playing at a high level. Deshaun Watson, in previous stop in Texas with the Texans and Houston with the Texans, played phenomenally well. And we're hoping that he regains that form here in Cleveland. But I'm of the opinion that if he just plays average to good because of how great this defense is, he'll be A-okay and the team will be okay. But you're absolutely right. Joe Flacco, he became a cult figure around Northeast Ohio and amongst Browns fans for his exploits of what he did on the football field last season for the Browns. So he certainly was a noble loss. But we do get Jameis Winston here, and he's obviously a veteran, been in the league for 10 years, understands how to get the job done, and has done great things on the football field as well.
I think, Jerod, also, that's a really good point because we know the Browns defense has been stellar the last few years. It's really carried them. But Kevin Stefanski and, of course, the front office went out and did add players to this to help him. They had to go last year back to Kareem Hunt after Nick Chubb came back. So I definitely want an update from you on Chubb and sort of where he stands. And they also added a wide receiver from the Denver Broncos in Judy. And I think that's another player, by the way, Jerod, that the jury is very much still out on. I mean, a lot of people had high hopes for Judy, did get his contract with the Browns, but there are some skeptics. There are also some people who feel like maybe a breakout is coming.
Yeah, well, the jury is definitely hung right now on Jerry Judy due to the fact that I believe because he had just a bad quarterback situation, with all due respect to the guys that played there, when you have inconsistency at the quarterback position, you're not going to have guys have much success at the wide receiver position. It goes hand in hand. But one thing that we are hoping is that we will be able to acquit Jerry Judy of being not a bad football player, but that he can truly live up to the talent that he represents from when he got drafted out of college coming from Alabama. So the sky, we believe, is the limit for him. And then when you think about just the other people that have come in, we've got some veterans on the defensive line who can help our cause in Jefferson and what he represents from the New York Jets and his ability to get to the quarterback. Looking forward to see what he could do. We got Hicks from the Minnesota Vikings. He'll be making up for the departure of Anthony Walker, who was a leader on this defense. So when I look at the Browns as constituted, it's pretty much a run it back situation where a lot of the guys outside of Kareem Hunt, outside of Joe Flacco, outside of Anthony Walker, who are preeminent figures on this team, are no longer here. But I really do like the guys that they brought in from what I've seen so far in training camp. I've been impressed with Judy. We had a practice against the Minnesota Vikings for the past 2 days, and I'm here to tell you that in one-on-one drills and when he was able to get the ball in 7-on-7 and team drills, he looked really good. So I'm excited about Jerry Judy.
Now, you know as well as I do, Jerod, that a lot of people in this world, I'm going to guess, lean on you for fantasy football advice, too. It's just sort of the way that this world works. We don't do a lot of it here, but as I alluded to before, I mean, Nick Chubb is a very good running back in the National Football League. And I think that whether it's fantasy or reality, I think people are rooting for this kid to get back on the field after that horrible injury last year. Now, I understand Jerome Ford is there, and they added Deonta Foreman. Foreman's been on, I think, 4 teams in 4 years. But Chubb is, I think, the one that we're keeping an eye on. I believe if I saw correctly a couple weeks ago, he was doing like work off to the side. Has anything improved as far as that goes? And I think expectations are he will play this year. Is that correct? We just don't know when.
It should be that way because we've seen him do phenomenal things. We've seen him jog. We've seen him run. We've seen him squat 600 pounds? And so right there gives me a great indication that Nick Chubb is well on his way. So I expect and anticipate him being back and to heal. And the beautiful thing for Nick, even though this is a horrible injury that he had to deal with in that Pittsburgh Steelers game in week 2, is the fact that he has familiarity with this situation. He got hurt real bad in college, and some
Yeah.
thought his career would be over there and he would even make it to the NFL. But he got to the NFL and he has been more than stellar. So I have to imagine that he knows what it requires of him to get back to that place where he's one of the elite running backs in the National Football League.
All right, and finally, Jerod, the AFC North has eluded the Cleveland Browns since it began a long time ago. This is probably going into the season the closest shot that the Browns have had going in. I think we would agree universally they're favored over the Steelers, like to have a better season than them. The Ravens have always been the cream of that division. Do you think the Browns, Jerod, have what it takes to win the division this year? This is as close to it probably can get. I think even halfway through last year, some people thought the Browns were going to win the division.
Right. It certainly has been within reach, and the Browns, to their credit, have gone from being a joke in the division, not standing a chance, to competing in the division, and now in a spot to where you can truly say with a straight face and no one look at you irregularly that, hey, these guys actually have a chance to win this division. Now, yes, you have one of the toughest divisions in the National Football League that you have to go through, but that's a good thing. I see that as a blessing in that what does it do? It prepares you for the playoffs. But ultimately, it's going to come down to probably the Browns and the Ravens. And I wouldn't sleep on Pittsburgh or the Bengals because Joe Burrow is back, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, to their credit, have a much better quarterback situation.
They do. And we'll see how it all plays out when the season gets going in September. Thanks again, Jerod, for coming here on NewsWire. It's great to catch up with you once again.
All right, thank you for having me. Pleasure talking with you.